Hi friends, today we're back addressing the drama. I don't like drama, but gosh darn it, we're going to talk about it. This mail's already been leaked, and so I'm going to talk about it too, gosh darn it. What the heck's going on in my kingdom, 2377? Well, you know, for those of you not caught up on the history, we had a hell of a KVK versus 1960. We lost. Then we had a KVK where we couldn't figure out how matchmaking had put us in this situation where we were like way above punching level of all the other camps, and like there was no way to do a 2v2 that really made a lot of sense for the other war camps, and it was just like, so they all 3v1'd us and kicked our ass, which was like, yeah, that wasn't a KVK, it was a slaughterfest, and it is what it is, and everybody knew it would be that. Our chance of winning that was nearly zero. I knew it going in, you knew it going in. Let's just be honest with each other, okay? We can be honest on this. And then this KVK, where once again we've got this weird situation where there's 3 war camps with super Imperiums, and then 1 war camp that's got AAAs. You know, the funny thing about A-Seed kingdoms is they think they can fight in Imperium KVKs, and then they get there, and they're like, wait, this is not what I thought it was. This is way tougher than I realized. If only someone could have told me that this is what an Imperium KVK was like. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here going like, haven't I made a bunch of videos talking about how if all your accounts aren't online for like 24/7, fully resourced, fully speed ups, you're just going to lose, and you're going to realize this is not what you wanted? There's just every A kingdom needs to figure that out for itself. They do. They got to like go. They think they can, and this is not the little engine that could. You can't, respectfully, because the accounts are older, they're online more, they have more resources, they have more speed ups. You can't win. You can't. And that's okay. That's okay. But why is it that matchmaking keeps creating these situations where everybody knew when 2 of the 3 Super Imperium war camps ally up, those are the ones that are going to win? And Kingsland was only 12 hours. So like, again, let's not pretend that there was a way for GV77 to win this KVK. It didn't exist. 0% chance from the onset. 0. I mean, I guess not nearly, not actually 0. I mean, I said before Kingsland, I was like, the only way we win is if the opponents deeply blunder. Like, they have to F this up. So it's unsurprising that Minnie, who's the king of 2377, sends this letter. It was leaked on Facebook. Other people are already making videos about it. So it's like, all right, well, let's talk about what's going on in 2377. And I'll share with you what Wild Lion and Mr. Hope are doing and what I'm doing as well. Wow, that was like an almost 3-minute introduction for this. So that's the history that you need to get to here. So, Bad Minnie, the long goodbye. It's with great sadness I send this mail. Now reading Mars's similar opening. I spent 7 KVKs here. It's been a roller coaster of emotion for me through all the wins and the losses. I gave everything I had to this kingdom, and I know he did. I came here to see what Imperium kingdoms were like, and honestly, I loved every second of it up until I got into leadership. Leadership sucks. It does. I've done it. I know. People expect a bunch from you, but then when you expect a bunch from them, they lose their shit or they don't do it. And some do, and you appreciate those people, and often many do. But he says, so I will return back to being a nobody. It's the best way to enjoy the game, truly. Relaxing from day to day, not being worried about the drama, the matchmaking, or a myriad of other tribulations that leadership faces in this new era of rock. After the GT KVK, this kingdom was dying. Everyone was asked who will be king, and the silence in the Discord chat was deafening. It is weird how, like, you lose 1 KVK, and, like, dude, like, most kingdoms, like, people, like, so many people just, like, freak out and they go other places. But I was really clear. I was like, I'm not going to leave just because we lost a KVK. People thought I was going to. They were like, oh, Chisgule's going to roach out. I was like, no. Like, I came here to make friends and hang out with people, and, like, I'm still here. I said I would come back if we got everyone to stay in leadership in some form or another. Most people had already posted the 2377 is dead posts at that point. That's probably on social media. As I read and watched over 30 people leave prior to our first registration, I turned to Queen of Mars and simply said, we join KVK tomorrow or we're done. So we had to rush the KVK registration, not because we're trying to, like, snipe other kingdoms or some bullshit, but because apparently, like, Our king was worried that if we languish for too long, people are just going to go other places. So in a matter of hours, we went into matchmaking by pass 4. We had 95 true fighters plus 3473. God, that must have sucked for them. We gave a performance that shouldn't have been possible. It's true. Like, we did way better than we had any right doing. Nobody knew just how badly this kingdom was hurting. I may not be the best king, but I will never back down from a fight. Ironically, this is probably what became our undoing. It's true. You need to, how do I say this gently? This is not a criticism of Mini. It's more a commentary on the way kingdoms are playing the game right now. You need to take the easy fight and get wins. That is what it is. You want your kingdom to keep going? Easy fight, get win. At some point, then they get a real fight. You're kind of cooked, but this is the strange dance that kings have to make. Now, theoretically, you can make a fight or kingdom that takes fights, but you have to win at some point. And if you don't, people are like, fuck it, I'm out. And how could you blame them, right? In today's rock, the matchmaking is fair to no one. Paid pilots are absolutely necessary to survive. How do you build a community when your community changes sides from day to day or hour by hour? The truth is you don't. I wanted to be able to survive at Imperium without destroying the essence of the game that had lasted all these years. I was simply foolish to think that this was possible. The number of S+ kingdoms is simply 3 after this mail. Maybe they'll be successful where I failed. I wish them luck sincerely. There's a lot to unpack here. For this KVK, from the second Diplo happened, I knew it would be unlikely we would win. Yeah, I mean, anyone who says otherwise is just dishonest, right? Everyone knows. It's okay. Like, we let's all just be honest about it. Everybody knew this would be the outcome of this KVK. Everybody. The thing is that you're probably sitting here like, well, Chisgule, why aren't you really bullish about that and saying that and complaining about that? Because if I'm like, oh, this Diplo sucks, blah, blah, blah. If I do too much of that, people are going to be like, stop being a fucking whiny bitch, right? So you go in optimistic. We're going to give it our best and all that kind of crap. But the eyes wide open reality is everybody knew what this KVK was going to be, right? So many said take a 2v7 again. Why? To get rewards. I knew that 606 and 489 wanted our destruction, which in a competitive environment makes sense. I would caution, though, be careful of this path as it may be an imbalance to the game. Oh, it is. Oh, it is. We'll talk about that. However, please, for the sake of the game, I hope the kings of 93, 606, and 489 find a way. They, unfortunately, in my opinion, will not, because there is not a way. The future of all Imperiums is that either they will at some point get repeatedly 3v1'd, or they will at some point actually fight each other, and there's only 3 of them, so how many times are they going to fight each other? There are only 3 kingdoms in the game that can fight these other kingdoms. One of these kingdoms must be present to fight one of the other ones of these kingdoms. Otherwise, they're all just getting 3v1'd. Not unless there's a huge change to matchmaking. And even then, I don't know, man. Imperium fighting is the best that this game has to offer, so sincerely good luck in keeping it alive. The question we've faced lately is simple. Ironically, it was the same question that our enemy posted to me in the 2v7. Do we stay in zone 4 or do we fight? I fight and always will, which in this game is not what kings should do, because losses mean no rewards, and no rewards means no fighters. No fighters is, well, you know, no kingdom. So here we are. I've done all I can do, and I would largely say that surviving 2 KVKs, although painful, was in itself a small accomplishment. The successes in this kingdom are not due to me, but in spite of me and my pursuit to fight. I want to thank the legend that is Shark for teaching me so much about this game and making my time here special. Thank Queen, who's been absolutely essential to my sanity. The Kingdom's day-to-day management and my friend. I want to thank Mars. Well, everyone knows Mars. Yes, Mars is balls to the wall from start to finish. One of the best in game, not in the field. Wait. One of the best in the game, not in the field. Let's be real, that's Rezio, but managing the farm army and being my counselor. Yeah, it's really funny. Like, Mars has so many farms he has to manage, he can't play his main account. How weird is that? But like, here we are, right? Here we are. The dude has a stacked main account, but doesn't actually get to play up much. He has to run like dozens and dozens and dozens of farms. Because, like, who wants to do that? Well, somebody needs to. So here he is doing it. Let me thank the council for making my life easier. These are in no order. Horse, Evren, ZYZZZ, Ragnar, Shinji, Rhaegal, Rayo, Darkwolf, Elsie, Slays, and Leah. Lastly, without this man and his team, this kingdom would simply not exist. There could be no more humble warriors than they are. They sat out of the limelight and may not be known to many on Rock, but it's simple. Snake and his team are the GOAT of support. There's no one who matched them. Without them, this kingdom would have fallen long ago. Thank you, my friends, and I'm sorry we couldn't save everything you and your team built. Now the key question, what's next? Well, I didn't write this long mail to stay as king. I will step down as king and hand off to whoever wants it. Don't exactly have that person yet, nor do I expect many will step in. I gave this mail now and not at KVK's end to be respectful of people and their future plans. As for me, like I said, I wasn't going to release this now, but it's the right thing to do. I have absolutely no idea where I will go next, but I hope the warriors that leave find amazing experiences wherever they go, because they deserve the adrenaline war brings. Thank you all for everything. Minnie. Now, there's a lot to talk about with matchmaking and where I will go next and what will happen next in this kingdom. But why don't we just start very briefly talking about matchmaking? If you want to fix these problems that Minnie has pointed out, which is honestly actually a collection of many problems that have accumulated over the years and have not been addressed, in my opinion. Okay, and I mean this respectfully, constructively, right? One problem that's obvious is something that I learned in kindergarten. Okay, in fact, it was preschool. Okay, we had this TV show called Sesame Street. I'm going to date myself. All right, and there was this little game in Sesame Street. It was called One of These Things Is Not Like the Others, and they'd show 3 things that are one way and 1 thing that was not. All right, and if you just look at the last KVKs we've had, every KVK has been one of these things is not like the others. Like, we're in this KVK with 3 Super Imperiums and a AAA camp. How can you possibly balance this? Right? How can you possibly balance this? Our KVK before that, we're the Super Imperium and there's 3 camps without a Super Imperium. One of these things is not like the others, and of course that leads to a unexciting KVK. Because obviously, it fails the common sense check. Right? Like, it's the thing that every player can see, current or former. They look at it and they're like, how's that supposed to work? Because obviously, right? So if I were looking at matchmaking in this game and leveling it up, my genuine advice would be to get a data analyst, get a developer, and get literally someone from the community who can pass that common sense check with a high level of accuracy, literally like Ruz, put them under NDA and hire them as a consultant to coach on matchmaking being fair and balanced. Okay, the combination of that team can for sure solve matchmaking. This has been a problem for a long time, okay? So all the way back to the 1254 days when we were talking about how that kingdom was killed due to matchmaking issues. So it's been a problem since then, and here we still are having these problems. I think the outside support would be huge in addressing the issue, right? Like, literally, like, hire us. Just say it, hire us, and get him to consult. Someone like him who, like, understands the game really intimately, and can try to give third party, like, the players all know what a good KVK does or doesn't look like. So bring in some players to figure it out, is my opinion. Now, the other piece of the puzzle is there's only 3 kingdoms left like this. You can't fix this overnight, but more kingdoms the same size means better matchmaking. So I think that when they made the changes that like kind of let Imperiums grow again, I don't know. A lot more thought needs to go into this and a lot more thoroughness, but something about the way kingdoms are built has to change so that at the top end, you don't have kingdoms like this, respectfully, or 2377 for that matter. You can't have a world where there's only 3 kingdoms like this because they'll never, ever get good matchmaking, and everybody who gets thrown into a KVK with them is going to have a weird experience. They can't continue to exist. Or you need more of them. Either one works. Truly. Either one truly works. But we know that slamming a bunch of A's into a war camp doesn't get you there. Okay? We know it doesn't get you there. We also know that trying to make it about numbers gets really weird too. Like you can't put like 489 in a KVK against 8 A seed kingdoms. Like, I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe you should. It's just, the more you get into this situation of one of these things is not like the others, the harder it will be to balance your matchmaking. And I'm just saying what's obvious, right? Like, when things are all similar-ish, it's easier to have matchmaking. And by the way, when you have 4 war camps, it should not matter who allies who. It really shouldn't. If there's 4 war camps, they should all be approximately so close in strength that it does not matter who allies who. And if you can create that situation, then of course matchmaking will be good. So how do you do that? Well, in part, the thing I said time and time again, we have too many KVK pops with too many options for each pop. I love that we have the options, and I love that we have frequent pops, but you know what I love more is a good KVK match. Well, how do you do that? You get more kingdoms into the same pool at the same time. I think that's the solution, right? I think that's the solution. Now, is there a lot more to matchmaking and the nature of the beast here? Yes, there absolutely is, right? And I think that, many points to this, right? Like, paid pilots are absolutely necessary to survive is a really strong statement. And, this is the king of one of the strongest kingdoms in the game saying that. I think that needs addressing. I think the devs are looking at that and are trying to figure out what they're going to do there. I mean, they think they said as much in a mail. I can't remember anymore. I'm kind of fried. But that is an important piece of the puzzle, right? And does this situation make the game better? I mean, honestly, we know this is on the developer's radar because Sewell, former king of 1960, said the exact same thing. In fact, we know that matchmaking is in a weird place because of the other KVK I'm in right now on my small account where there's going to be no fighting. It's a farm KVK. Because 1960 has like 50 players, but their stats make them look like an A seed that can hit pretty hard. But like, how are you supposed to fight? I don't know what the actual numbers are. Like 50 into 500 is like, just forget it. So they disbanded. They're like, okay, being a small kingdom with really, really, really good players is not viable. So they felt like they had to go somewhere else because the matchmaking wasn't ever going to suit them. Which puts us in an interesting situation. What's Wild Lion say? We're staying. And we'll be happy if you joined us. So, I mean, I think for the time being, I'm staying in 2377. We'll see. I mean, this could change. They could change their mind. But let's see who's staying and then figure out what happens next, I guess. Right? What else is there to do? I mean, like, I could, options would include go to another kingdom, including applying to these kingdoms you see here, right? Or go to a smaller kingdom, or go to a tiny kingdom. Like, there's a bunch of different options, but for the time being, we'll stay with Wildlion Mr. Hope. And it's funny because in a lot of ways, I was just out barbing, don't mind me. I have actually, over the last 3 KVKs, shaped my account to specifically suit playing with Wildlion and Mr. Hope. I don't know if you noticed this, but I moved all in on a super anti-swarm garrison that tries to live. Instead of all damage, I went with health. Just like, how do we make the garrison live as long as possible? Because if we're living, we're going to be able to fill and we're going to be fine. So, you know, I may change my mind about that and try to swap some things around at some point for all damage. But I've also gone in, right? And this is Arch. Not Pincer, but Arch. This is the anti-swarm garrison setup, right? Which we know that when I and other people rotate in using that setup, that we get some pretty cool outcomes using that setup, right? So like, funny enough, I have kind of built my account to support the Wild Lion Mr. Hope crazy fill, right? You put the big dogs on the flag and you fill. I literally, like, if I have to go back to being a fielder and sometimes swarmer, I literally started dismantling the things that I was keeping for swarming. I got rid of my Mora's Web, and I was about to get rid of Dagger potentially too. So, anyways, folks, I gotta go. Prep for this procedure I'm having. Should be very routine, very minor surgery. Remove a bunch of skin. Check that there's no cancer in that too. It's in an abundance of caution. If you didn't see that video, the card will be over there. We're running a little fundraiser. Just to be clear, that's not for me. That's for the Cancer Research Institute. And my big push here is just to generate awareness so that people go get their skin checked, because we caught my cancer at stage 0, which is huge. So today is this like abundance of caution. Just cut a bunch of more skin off my leg and make sure that there's nothing else there. But then I'll be cancer free. Woohoo! Hopefully. I don't know. I gotta get a lot of moles removed now because, you know, out of an abundance of caution. So check that out. Card will be over here. If you didn't know what was going on and you haven't ever gotten a skin check, some people need a nudge. Like, and I have friends that, like, I'm still nudging. So you're among them now. Go get your skin checked. And if you want to see our Kingsland card, will be up over here. You can watch that too. You can see what I mean. It lasted 12 hours. I stopped recording when I got pretty frustrated, or streaming. And yeah, you can see exactly what I'm talking about.